peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be upon you, and may prayers and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad and all his family and companions. Of course, brothers, today my topic is generally about Konica printers. There are many things included, such as printer issues. Among them are issues with lines, laser problems, color or ink issues, and so on. Of course, in my last video, I explained the topic of lasers, and there was an issue. In the laser, we cleaned it, and the problem went away. And thank God, it was largely resolved. But there is something people are unaware of or not paying attention to. Of course, now I will explain it after I did it, God willing, and thank God the operation was 100% successful. This is the last solution that people don't pay attention to, and now I will remind you of it and tell you how to work on it and how. It will work with you so that the test comes out in this clean way. Of course, brothers, this printer is old, but after we cleaned it and did the full work on it, it returned to normal, thank God, 100%. However, there is something we forgot. Even though we cleaned the laser, changed the drums, changed the transfer belt, changed the build blades, and changed the transfer roller, we changed it all. But there remained a problem with lines appearing in the black color. Okay, I have a solution that I need to implement, and we have now resolved it. Look, the test was 100% excellent, generally excellent. We returned it to normal. Now, I will tell you the problem and how you will solve it, God willing, in all its details. Of course, when I tell you this thing, people have either forgotten it or are not paying attention to it. I will tell you about it, God willing. The first thing we will do is disassemble this, which is the drum or the drum unit. I brought a used one with me. I just wanted to explain it to you to show you the part that we tend to forget or overlook to check if there's a problem with it or not. All right, brothers, of course, we clean the drum quickly. The disassembly process is quick. First, we remove this side, and then you have two screws here and here that need to be unscrewed. Of course, brothers, this is the last solution. If you or we encounter a problem with one of the colors, like if you see lines of color, some light and some dark, and you can't identify the problem, I will tell you exactly where the problem is now. We removed the drum, and of course, brothers, the parts inside the drum unit, if you notice, include the blade. Of course, this drum is worn out, but we can repair it to make it excellent again without any issues. We can replace the drum, and we can replace a part, brothers, called, it means that in these dramas, it's called corona. It's called corona, that's its name. I mean, that's its scientific name, or what is commonly known among the people working in the sector. It's called corona. The corona, if you notice this mesh piece here, this is it. You see it, this mesh. This mesh, my brothers, is very important, of course. So you know there are printers that come with a magnetic roll, which is the sponge under the magnetic roll, and there are other printers that have the corona piece. This is called corona. Of course, my brothers, this is very worn out. If you notice, there is something like rust. If you notice, there is something like rust. But of course, this rust does not mean that it is completely broken. We can repair them, of course, if you notice. Here there was a blue line. Like this, you find dirt on the path here. Of course, my brothers, this is a main reason for what happens to you when you print, for example. The blue color comes out dirty or, let's say, smudged. For example, you get a blue gap in this way. Of course, you disassemble and change the drum. This is a drum we changed. You will change the drum blade or clean the laser, and you will still have the same problem if you do not pay attention to the magnetic roller or the corona wire. Of course, most printers have a corona wire, which is a metal piece. This metal piece, brothers, must be cleaned 100%. Of course, we will clean it with a specific method. And, I mean, it must be cleaned with a specific thing, not just anything. It must be cleaned properly, brothers. So now we will clean it with thinner. I don't know what you call it, but it is thinner. Of course, brothers, this thinner. I don't know what you call it, but we call it thinner. The one that dissolves colors. You get a piece of cotton like this, You need to get a piece of soft cotton in a careful manner. The smell of thinner is extremely strong, so we just use just a tiny bit. It dries quickly. So please be cautious not to get it on the plastic, because it will ruin it. We wipe it in this particular way. Look. We wipe it in this way. Even if it's rusty, it's not a problem. This is because it's burnt. Even if it's rusty. You clean it this way. Of course, you know there's a lever here. This lever is to click off the excess ink, but sometimes it doesn't work or doesn't function properly. So you might need to clean it with fire, or you can use alcohol, the kind from pharmacies, or rubbing alcohol. Alcohol or rubbing alcohol, because this is a thinner substance. And if used incorrectly, it might damage the blade or this plastic piece. I use it because it's quick and evaporates fast. It cleans and evaporates quickly, meaning it doesn't take long. So it needs to be clean in this way. This rust isn't a problem because it's old. It's from the drum, it's old, but it needs to be like this. See this shine? It needs to be like this. Of course, some of them come rusty but still work, yet this rust might cause shadows or issues in printing. So you might think it's a problem with the drum, the blade, or the laser, but it turns out to be an issue with this piece. Look at this metal piece. It needs to be cleaned, my friends. In many printers, you might find a lot of, for example, if you have streaks in red color, you will find red color here. It's not clean if the black has the same issue and the blue has the same issue, so you clean it. Of course, it has a magnetic roller, my friends, a magnetic roller. I explained about it in Canon printers. It needs to be replaced. In Canon printers, you might be able to clean it and do a refresh, and it will work fine. In Konica printers, it's impossible. You have to replace it. It will keep giving you streaks, so you need to replace the magnetic drum that's in it. As I mentioned, Konica printers come with a drum unit, which is the magnetic drum, and it comes with a Corona unit. This Corona unit is called Corona. You can change it or clean it or change it or change it. He removes it from the yellow, the red, the black, and installs it. Here, it's very easy. Of course, these parts can be lifted up and removed on their own, or you can remove them from the outside. And here you can remove it and take it out. But of course, brothers, be careful with this piece. If it gets bent while you're removing it, this is a big problem. You will also encounter issues with the lines. I wanted to point this out because many people don't pay attention to it, don't see it, or don't think that these metal pieces can cause problems with printing. All right, brothers, after we clean it, assembling the drum is very easy using this method. We directly bring the parts for disassembly. It's a very simple process, meaning there are absolutely no complications at all using this method. In this straightforward and simple way, we carefully take the screwdriver and meticulously install the piece perfectly, ensuring that everything fits together seamlessly and securely. And this is the second screwdriver. Of course, this piece, my friends, is installed in reverse and is unscrewed in reverse as well. Don't forget, it unscrews in reverse and installs in reverse, exactly. All right, we have just finished, and of course, we cleaned with thinner. Be careful not to let it get on the drum, as I mentioned to you. If you're worried and can't use the thinner, you can use medical alcohol, as I told you. Work with it, but don't let it get on the drum, whether it's medical alcohol or anything else, because it has a layer, which is the zinc layer. This layer is very thin and shiny, and it's what takes the print from the laser. Excuse me, from the transfer, it moves to the drum. All right, brothers, and may God bless you. Certainly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and like the video. We wish you the greatest success, God willing. See you in another episode, and peace be upon you, and God's mercy and blessings.